Greetings and welcome to this latest episode of Conversations on Aging. I'm your host, Kimberly Gunn with Zoomcatchers. And you know what we say, we're never too young to think about aging. Welcome and welcome back to episode 5, The Power of Community Service. We're super excited to have a guest who has been in the mix in community service here in Alameda County, and that would be Lara Calvert. Lara Calvert is the Executive Director of Spectrum Community Services and an advocate for human empowerment. She spends her time on issues and projects that help others live life to their fullest. In 2013, Lara brought her passion to Spectrum Community Services, where the health and safety of older adults and families are the focus. The team at Spectrum services over 12,000 Alameda County residents each year through programs to keep them in their homes, increase home energy efficiency, provide nutritious meals, education and exercise to reduce injuries, all while giving much needed positive social interactions. We're embracing our wrinkles today, everyone. We're so happy to welcome Lara Calvert from Spectrum Community Services to our show. Lara, how are you doing today?
Good morning. I am great. It's another beautiful day. You know, any day you wake up and you get to go do the things you love and be around the people you love. It's another great opportunity for life. So I look at every day as a new opportunity.
Awesome. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to find out more about yourself and about Spectrum Community Services and the wonderful community effort that you're doing out there. So I just touched on the highlights of who you are. Can you go into more detail and tell us more about yourself and how did you get into the community services space?
You know, our paths in life are never a straight one, right? When I was a child, I grew up in an all-female household. My mom was a single mom working. I had 2 sisters, and my grandmother lived with us. So it was an intergenerational family, and we all, did our part to make things happen. My mom was in business and finance, and it was something that I aspired to as well and wanted to do. And I had the opportunity to go to college and get a degree in business. And during my general ed, I took a sociology class. Absolutely loved it. But looked at the career pathways and went, I'm not sure that I'm cut out to be a social worker. I'm not sure that I'm cut out to be a researcher. So I continued on, but also started getting involved with groups in college, business groups, things that we were doing and giving back to the community through community service at that time to support and help others. And after college, I continued to do that as an adult, be involved with the community, trying to make our systems work better for everybody, right? How do we improve lives? How do we improve the systems of our communities so that everybody can thrive together? And that's really where my work was and has been until I got tapped on the shoulder for this opportunity at Spectrum. And I hadn't been working in the older adult space at that point in time, but it really doesn't matter. People are people, and we all have the same needs. And I feel a lot of joy in being in this space.
Awesome, awesome. And I know that there are many residents in the Alameda County that appreciate the service that you're providing and the services that your organization is providing. So I want to, dig deeper into Spectrum Community Services and find out more about the wonderful services that your organization is providing. I know that you've been around since 1971, so you've got the decades of history, under your belt. So tell us more about the kinds of services that you're providing, please.
We're called Spectrum Community Services because it's a variety of different things that we do. And I'm proud that as an organization over the years, we've changed which programs we do based on what the needs of the community are and what strengths that we have as an organization. Currently, all of our programs are there to enhance the quality of life for seniors and residents experiencing low income. We have senior services programs as well as programs specifically for those households experiencing low income. The senior services programs, all of them are accessible for anybody who's 60 years and older. There's not an income qualification, but we do try to make sure that we are available and really well known for those people who are on the lower income range, who need more support and maybe can't afford something that other families might be able to. For households that are experiencing low income of all ages, we have our energy programs, which are weatherization, Alameda County Water District, in any of their water bills through that LIWAD program.
Awesome. Awesome. There you have it, folks. There's a wide variety and a wide range of programs that Spectrum Community Services provides. And we're going to, keep going and find out just a little bit more about each one of those programs. So I know probably a lot of people are really familiar with the Meals on Wheels. And what is the difference between the Meals on Wheels versus the Senior Meals program?
That's a great question, because I think everybody has an idea of what Meals on Wheels are. Because Meals on Wheels is something that's actually even international. Every community has a local provider for them. And so Spectrum Community Services is our local provider in the Tri-Valley area of Alameda County. And it is based for the seniors on their eligibility. So they need to be homebound, not able to cook for themselves, have health issues, and not be able to do the regular activities of daily living. And then we will sign them up and bring them a hot, nutritious meal that's been planned by a registered dietitian, meets all of the federal guidelines for nutrition for an older adult, and bring it to their door, knock on their door with a smile. And really, that is a wellness check as well. Our volunteers have a special app that they use, and we get feedback immediately after every delivery to let us know, hey, it was Mrs. Wang. When you just saw Mrs. Wang, was she kind of the same as she normally is? Or was she having, a better day than normal? Or was she having maybe a concern? And if there's a concern, then our organization hears about that immediately through that app, and we can do follow-up with her and with her family to make sure that there's not an intervention that we need to come and do. So that wellness check really makes it more than a meal. That friendly visit at the door is more than a meal for everybody. So the nutrition in the meal is the first step to get into the home, right? For us, some people just think, oh, I just need help with that. But they don't realize all of the kind of wraparound pieces that we provide in that Meals on Wheels. The Senior Meals program is the exact same kind of great nutrition that everybody needs, right? And let me talk about the nutrition portion of this for a second. Every meal has protein, has 2 servings of vegetables, a serving of fruit, a whole grain, calcium through milk, and on special days they get a treat of a dessert, but not every day. But that's a well-rounded, nutritious meal for folks. And as you get older and maybe you live alone, or maybe there's 2 of you in the household, sometimes you don't want to cook a whole meal. And you don't want to make it with all of these different ingredients to make it delicious, right? So the senior meals are for folks who are still mobile and active older adults. And they don't need that extra service of having it home delivered to them. They can still get out into the community. So it's really important to have something to do every day, just like I did this morning, right? I had a reason to get up, get dressed, and come talk with all of you. Having a reason to get up, get dressed, and come to the senior center or to the church or the community center to come get lunch, have fellowship with other diners, and socialize during that time is very key, right? Again, it's more than just the meal. The meal is a way to get folks to come, is through that meal. And then they find out that they start making friends with others. And they might start figuring out that there's other activities to do and other ways to be engaged in the community and share information. I don't know about you, but while I might get some information from the news and on TV or the radio, the newspaper, we also know more about our local community by talking with our neighbors, right? So at the Senior Meals Program, we really see that sharing of information among the seniors. Sometimes we help give information to folks about things that they might not know that's going on in the community. And then the other thing is, I hear often there's a group of men who sit at one of the tables at the San Leandro Senior Center, and they love to talk about the common kinds of experiences that they had in their lives because they're of the same generation. And having that peer group to talk with and be friends with is really, really important. So senior meals for those active seniors who are still getting out of their home, right? Meals on Wheels are for those who can't get out of their home anymore, but they're still being able to live independently in their own home, which is really what most people want when we think about our older years. Most people are thinking, oh, I want to live in my own home. I want to be able to have some independence. And when we're able to bring Meals on Wheels, we help them with that piece.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for getting into more detail about that. And I really wanted to just share my own experiences with Meals on Wheels and my aunt. I was a caregiver for her before she passed away a couple of months ago, and she was fortunate enough to be on the Meals on Wheels program, and it really made a difference in her life. I can vouch for that. Not just the nutritious food that I know she was getting, but knowing that the community cared for her. Someone would show up, at a given time. It was something that we could anticipate and expect. And it really made a difference, not just for her, but for our family. It, helped us with having to take care of her and prepare meals for her. I was like the royal taste tester. So I was like testing the food for her. So the food's great, everybody. We were getting like a monthly menu, so we knew what was coming, and we kind of made a game out of it. It was like, hey, you're getting a burger today, and then you're getting, tortillas on Friday. And so it was something to talk about. And I think, for me, when I was growing up, there was like this ideas about Meals on Wheels. If the food isn't that great, I'm like, no, people, the food is like restaurant quality food. I can vouch for that. So, you guys are really doing a wonderful service. And, for me and with my aunt, it helped to kind of break down some of those perceptions that she had about the Meals on Wheels. I don't know where she got the idea from, but the food was really outstanding.
And again, it's for people of all income levels. It's about your need, right? And it's about how are we taking care of each other, right? How are we taking care of our neighbors? How are we taking care of each other? Because you need some extra help, right? And I love that you brought up what it meant for you as a family member, because we do sometimes only think about the senior who's receiving that meal every day, right? But just as you said, to me, it's about all of their loved ones as well. My stepdad also receives Meals on Wheels in another community. And since my mom passed away 2 years ago, he lives alone. He's legally blind. And while he can cook for himself, it's difficult and he is living alone. And while we talk to him and I see him, we're not seeing him every single day, right? Those pieces give us peace of mind that if somebody comes and knocks on the door and he's not there, then we're going to get a phone call. We're going to get a phone call and they're going to say, hey, we came by and dad's not there. Should he be here? Because if they're not there and the loved one, emergency contact says, no, 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 they should be there, then either I would go there or we'd say, nope, call the police department and have them do a welfare check. That is a very important piece. And it gives us as family members peace of mind that we can be at work and taking care of our work duties for the day and know that he's okay and not be stressed and worried about him all through the day.
Mm-hmm.
That he's at least getting that check.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress is, with your aunt, particularly at the end of life time, there's a lot that if you have family, if you're fortunate enough to have family to help look after you, there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of things that need to be done. And so if we can be there to take just a little bit of that off of the family members, it, you know, we're doing a service for more than just that one person.
Absolutely. And that's why this episode is titled, The Power of Community Service, because it touches more than just the person who's eating the meal or getting that exercise program. It touches the families, and then it touches the whole community. So I don't think maybe people always realize that or see that thread, but it really mattered, to myself and to my aunt and to our family, and then the people that we touched, knowing that there was these services out there that were benefiting all of us. And you currently serve how many people in the community?
So our senior meals program is serving 270 seniors in the Tri-Valley area, and our senior meals program serves about 400 people every day. Meals throughout Alameda County, from South County to North County, up and down the 880 corridor.
Awesome. So you guys are busy. Someone's always cooking or doing something, I imagine, with your
The cooks get up early. They report to work at 6 a.m. every morning so that they're making a fresh meal every day for the folks to come to meals at noon. And very proud of what the cooks are doing, and the love that they put into it. They get excited. They get excited to hear the feedback from people. They're like, "Oh, that was great. We love that. That was perfect." Or, that one was a little too spicy. Can you make it different next time? And we listen. We are there trying to make sure that they're happy with what they're getting every day.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. Now, before we, touch on some of the other programs, I did want to talk about your experiences during the COVID pandemic, because we've talked about it online, and how you really had to, ramp up and collaborate with some other agencies to service the community. So, can you go into a little bit more detail about that, please?
Absolutely. The pandemic, we saw it coming, a little bit in December and January, a little bit more in February. And really the end of February, beginning of March, started getting concerned about, what's the future looking like with this. And then when the shelter in place orders came through, we already had started, instead of doing our senior meals in a sit-down restaurant style where everyone's sitting at a table together, they're getting served on plates and eating together, we said, you know what? We're gonna need to shift gears here. So we made sure we had the to-go containers, and for 5 days we continued doing our regular meal service, putting them in containers, and having the seniors be able to take them home, and eat them, safely, right? Because we were supposed to be sheltering in place and not interacting with each other. We realized that was not sustainable for us, that it was difficult for our volunteers to shift to that the supply chain of takeout containers, I don't know if you remember, but everybody was, doing takeout from restaurants everywhere because they were at home, was very, very difficult. And our kitchen that we cook out of for the senior meals program, we're not set up to do individual servings like our Meals on Wheels kitchen is. Luckily, we have a sister organization right up the road from us called SOS Meals on Wheels. They are the largest provider of home delivered Meals on Wheels in Alameda County. And luckily, we have a good relationship with them. And the executive director there, Charlie Detterline, and I got on the phone and said, hey, what can we do together? And he saw that they were going to have a need to be doing much more meals. I knew that we weren't going to be able to continue having the takeout model out of our kitchen, and we didn't have the proper equipment to do those other individualized containers that they do at their kitchen. So we said, hey, let's work together. Let's do everything we can to serve as many seniors as have a need, and together we'll be able to do more. So our kitchen staff rolled up their sleeves. They packed up everything at our Hayward kitchen, moved over to San Leandro, and joined the team at SOS Meals on Wheels and worked alongside each other. We never, ever missed a day of service. Making sure that our seniors were fed every day and checked on every day was the number one priority for our organization. Everybody, that was our focus for everybody in every program in our agency during that time. We were able at SOS Meals on Wheels to feed everybody who needed a meal during that time because of the production. I give great props to them as an organization, to their leadership for thinking outside the box and making things happen in different ways. And it was a joy to be a part of those solutions. So again, so that nobody was ever without during that time. It was a good thing. When it started and we went there in March, we said, we didn't have an answer for people like, how long are we going to be doing this? Right. And in my mind, I thought, I don't want to scare people, but I'm thinking maybe 3 months. Maybe we'll be doing this for 3 months. Because at the time, right, it was that we were only going to be in shutdown for 2 weeks. But we were there actually for 18 months. Much longer than we had originally expected. But COVID, you can't predict the future, and COVID took its own path. And we continued to do what we could do until we started feeling comfortable to be able to offer to folks back to the senior meals. If those who are comfortable, they can come back together and we're eating together again. We're calling it meet and eat. You meet your friends and you eat together. We also have what we call grab and connect, which is you're grabbing your hot meal to take it home and then connecting online through an online community that is set up especially for our clients. We've partnered with Loop Village, and every day our seniors can log in via Zoom and have a different activity every day of the week. They can interact with others and get that social connection that they're missing out on because they're choosing not to eat together at the center, but eat at home alone. We really know that the social connection is so vitally important to their health that we're offering this extra new piece.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much for providing some more detail to that story. We talked about it offline, and I know a lot of people would be interested in hearing about that. And shout out to Charlie. Hopefully, we'll have Charlie on our show. We've been emailing each other back and
Absolutely.
forth, so it'd be great to have him on to share his experiences. So thank you, and thank you for your service during that time. What would you say though? Should we be thinking about as far as preparation for the next pandemic or crisis where your organizations or similar type organizations might have to spring into action again?
I think that when everything's going well, we take things for granted. I think it's just sort of human nature. And our politicians and funders are just humans, and they do the same thing, right? We don't always think about the firefighters and whether we're funding them well enough and whether they're well staffed and they have all the right equipment until you need them and you call 911 and you expect them to be there. Same thing happened, I think, during the pandemic and will happen again in the future. And that is that while we're here every day helping people, when there is a crisis, everybody's comes and turns to the community-based organizations like Spectrum Community Services and expect us to be here. They expect us to be well trained, well equipped with the best skills and all of the things that you need in that emergency. But what we know is the only way we can be there and ready to act is if we're well funded along the way. You can't just ignore us and say, oh, well, they're fine, they'll get by. No, it takes an investment. Just like the firefighters have to train to keep their skills up and they have to be well staffed, so do we. We need to have enough staffing so that if somebody's sick for a day, we're not completely saying, oh, there's no meals today because our 2 cooks are out sick, right? How do we make sure that we're going to continue doing that, have a backup plan, have everybody trained so that there's not a disruption of services and that we can step up and do the innovative kinds of things like SOS Meals on Wheels and Spectrum did during the pandemic, which is, hey, we need to change what we're doing. How do we partner together to go further in this moment?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. It's all about partnerships and empowering our communities, individuals, and families. And I do want to touch on funding because you brought that up. How is your organization funded, and how could individuals and organizations donate to this cause?
Thank you. As I talked about, government funding is something that we rely on very much, but it doesn't fully fund. I call it subsidized by government funding, both through the Older Americans Act at the federal level, as well as some state matching. And we are very fortunate in our county to have something called Measure A, which is a health initiative, and we get a bit of funding from that as well. But it doesn't cover the full cost of a meal. And so we ask for a client contribution towards their meals. And some clients are able to do that and others aren't. But nobody is ever turned away. It's an anonymous contribution and that we have. We still don't make it. So we ask for individual donations. We have a few fundraisers throughout the year for those people who want to come to events and get and socialize and do things that way. But we really rely on individual donations on a monthly basis that people say, you know what, this is important to me. The work that Spectrum Community Services does is important. And I want to give my funds to them. Some people give their time and other people give their treasures. And some people do both. And we rely on the community to recognize the good work that we're doing and help support us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And we are here with Lara Calvert with Spectrum Community Services. They're always someone over there is always doing something. I'm convinced just hearing about all the programs, and there's a way for you to also get involved. And you can check the description to get the website for the organization. And if you want to go ahead and make that donation, you can do that there. And I do want to, before we move into weatherization and some of the other programs, find out once again, how do people qualify for the Meals on Wheels and the Seniors Meals Program?
So the Senior Meals Program, you need to be 60 years and older. If you're younger than 60, you can still come in and have a meal with us. You need to pay a fee for that meal. So we can't use any of our government funding for that. So you need to pay full price. But let me tell you, for what you're getting, you're not going to get it out at a restaurant for the same price. So it's a bargain. We ask everybody to make a reservation in advance so we know how many meals to cook in our kitchen and how many meals to bring out to our satellite partner sites every day so that we're expecting you. And the volunteers at the site are expecting you to be there. So it's really simple, 60 years or older, and we ask you to fill out a registration form that tells us something about you, lets our funders know on a macro level, who we are serving in the community. It's as simple as that for the senior meals.
Awesome.
Meals on Wheels is also 60 years and older, but there are eligibility guidelines on that. So you have to qualify. And again, it's about where are you in your life, right? You really you need to be homebound. You need most of our clients, have difficulty standing in the kitchen to cook for themselves. They like, think about somebody, my grandmother, who I grew up with, had rheumatoid arthritis. And as I was getting older and growing, she was shrinking, quite literally. It was an interesting, thing to witness, and we used to joke about it. But it's not necessarily a joking matter. She was in pain every day, and her hands deteriorated over time, and she couldn't straighten her fingers out anymore. So, doing things like opening a can of soup during the day when she was home alone, when the rest of us were, my mom was at work and we were at school, that became a problem for her. Being able to walk was a problem for her. So there was a lot of things that over time she really needed more and more help with. And those are the kinds of folks who we see on the Meals on Wheels program.
Hmm. Awesome. So there you have it, folks. Whether you're a senior in that's homebound that needs some meals, or you want to learn more about the Senior Meals Program, you can check out the information at the website. It's a great website. It gives you plenty of details, and people can apply right there online. Is that right?
For the Meals on Wheels, we ask you to call in. There's an interest form as well. We have individual conversations with people. We get to know them. We want to know who our clients are and what their needs are, particularly if they need more than just that meal from us. We want to have a conversation and understand that and try to meet as many of their needs, either through our organization or through sister organizations that are doing things to help them out. It's very personal. It's
Hmm.
it's not it's it's not like DoorDash where you put it on an app and then they leave it at your doorstep and you never have to see them, right?
Hmm.
No. This is about connection.
Awesome. Great. So that covers the meals aspect of your services, and I wanted to just move into the weatherization. It's all about we're always talking about the weather. So if you could tell us more about the weatherization programs that your services provides, what does that mean, and how people might be able to apply for those.
Absolutely. I don't know about you. When I first came to this organization, I don't think I'd ever heard the word weatherization before. Didn't really know what it was, but once I got explained to me, I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. So, weatherization is improving the energy efficiency and health and safety of a residence. We do that through simple things like weather stripping on doors, making sure that windows are fully functioning in a home and they don't have any leaks in them. Sometimes doors have a gap in them. I don't know if you've ever lived someplace where you close the door and the sun hits the right way and you see the sun coming all the way through that door on the bottom or on the top. Well, that's not just sunlight coming through, that's also hot air in the summertime or really cold air in the wintertime, making your house not very energy efficient. So, those are some of the very simple examples of weatherization, making your home more energy efficient. Bigger projects are things like insulation, right? We now in California do what's called R49 or 49 inches of insulation to help make sure that you're keeping that heat inside in the wintertime and keeping the cool air inside in the summertime. So, how do we reduce the energy burden or energy costs of a household? And that's the lens that we look at for weatherization. The second piece is health and safety. We are always putting in smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, night lights so that people can see at night and they don't trip and fall. We're putting in uh, making sure that their water heaters and furnaces are not releasing gas into their home that is unhealthy for you. Sometimes people just have low levels of carbon monoxide that they're living with in their home and they don't even realize it. And over time, it really is a detriment to the health of all the people living in that household. We know that indoor air quality is a very serious social determinant of health in a negative way, and that more families who experience low income have poor indoor air quality than those in higher incomes. They're more likely to live in households that have mold growing in them. They're not insulated, and again, have pollution nearby and no air filters, an exchange of air in their home. When we come in and do an assessment, our trained assessors look at the entire system of that home, whether it's an apartment, a mobile home, or a single family home, or a townhouse. We don't care. We're going to go and do all of the assessments of the systems in that home to make sure that it is a healthy, safe, and energy efficient place for them to live. Each home, we do different, what we call measures or things that we put in than others. Most of the homes that we go into, they're in an emergency or crisis situation where their furnace doesn't work in the wintertime or their water heater goes out. Again, during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, there were some people who were saying, oh, you can't go into people's homes anymore, right? Because of COVID. You do not go into people's homes. And I'm like, I've got clients calling saying that their water heater stopped working. That means they have no hot water. If you don't have any hot water, you can't wash your hands and get any viruses off of your hands. You can't wash your body. It is not healthy and inexcusable in America in the 21st century for us to have anybody living without hot running water in their home. And so secondary to making sure that seniors got fed every single day and got checked on, I was making sure that our households had hot water and a furnace that worked in their home so that they were in a healthy, safe space. It is dignified, right? It is what we all deserve. And I am so proud that we are able to have this, and it is all free. The weatherization program is fully government funded through the Health and Human Services Department and is available throughout the country to families experiencing low income. And I am very proud that we are able to do this. And we are able to do this not only for homeowners, but for renters as well. If we have a household that's renting a home and the income qualify here in the Bay Area, I guarantee you that landlord is not charging market rates and isn't collecting a huge profit to be able to keep up with all of the maintenance that the residents deserve to have. So we want to make sure, again, that there are opportunities for affordable housing for renters in our community that is healthy and safe for them.
Awesome. Awesome. So there you have it. There's your lowdown on weatherization and what Spectrum Community Services is doing. That's outstanding. I didn't realize that it was, a free program. And once again, the qualifications would be they're found on the website, correct?
On our website, and it's household income. It's based on household income. We do prioritize households with older adults, people who are experiencing a disability, and those with children under the age of 6, because those are the most vulnerable populations to, again, having poor health outcomes if they don't have heat or hot water in their home. And we want to protect those populations the most. And so they, get the first priority from us. But we help over 500 households in Alameda County every year through this program. It's really nice to be able to do these pieces, and people tend to be very grateful and understanding that they're now in a more habitable home, right? Putting insulation in your home, it just makes it more comfortable. Not having drafts going through your home in the wintertime is just more comfortable, right? If somebody's refrigerator isn't working correctly, if their stove or range isn't working correctly, we can replace those items as well. There's a long list of things that we do. And again, it depends on the home and what condition everything is in there. So we make a special plan based on each individual situation.
Awesome. Great. And all that information can be found on the website because I've looked. So
Yeah.
the website is
Yeah.
a great resource to find out about these individual programs and the qualifications, how to qualify for each one. I did want to talk a little bit about the fall prevention program that you had. I know, in particular with seniors, falling is an issue. We had to deal with that with our aunt. So, can you tell us more about what the fall prevention program entails?
Fall prevention's fun. Again, it's people getting together and for their health, right? Usually you're coming for your own self and you're saying, you know what? I want to move. I want to make sure that I'm healthy. I want to make sure that I can play with my grandchildren or great grandchildren. I want to make sure that I've recovered from a surgery, that I'm moving my body and that I'm feeling good, right? And exercise, just like eating, is something we need to do every day. It's not like something that you go, oh, I checked off the box. I did that. I don't ever have to do it again, right? That's if you don't use it, you lose it. So fall prevention is a program that is specifically designed for people who are 60 years and better. All of our fitness instructors have special certifications specifically to help people who are 60 years and better. We have people who are all the way into their late 90s. It's a wide range of ages and ability levels. And it's important to have that because sometimes you go to a gym and there's some trainers there, but they typically are focused on athletes who are younger and really pushing people and making sure that, it's a different thought process. As we age, we lose muscle mass at an alarming rate. And really, we're just trying to make sure we're maintaining, right? We're trying to maintain that muscle mass, maintain our strength, maintain our balance, and keep our heart pumping, doing aerobics along the way. So our classes do all of those things each day in a 1-hour session, as well as give folks tips and tricks to help prevent falls. Because I don't know about you, but I know I need to do things a little bit differently than I did when I was 18. Maybe when I was 18, I was trying to carry in 2 or 3 bags of groceries into the house to skip making extra trips, right? Well, if I do that now, I'm gonna trip into my house if I do that. Having that thought process that, you know what, it's better for me to take 3 different times back and forth from the car into my house rather than possibly falling down and having a problem and injuring myself. We have to think about all of those things. How do we change our behaviors? How do we change what we do to prevent our injuring ourselves? And so that education piece comes along with that exercise piece in our classes every day. Along with all that, there's the socialization. You become a community with the others in the class, right? You get to hang out with people. Maybe you came in by yourself. Maybe a friend brought you in, but then you get to meet others in class and again, have those connections with each other. One of the women in our classes recently, she's in her 80s and she just was blessed by having her first grandchild. And so she was going to miss class for a couple of days because she was going to be able to be there for her son and daughter-in-law and her new grandbaby and have some special times. And I'm proud that she's been coming to class and keeping herself active so that she can be there for her family, right? Those are the things that we want to do, right? We want to be able to spend time with our loved ones, time with our friends, and do it in ways that we're healthy and that we're being able to be active. And the fall prevention classes allow people to do that on whatever level they can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, because it's so important. And at the top of the show, you mentioned the whole idea of people being able to live independently, and your organization really leans into that. And obviously, being able to be safe and healthy in one's home is a key part of that. So, you can also find out about the fall prevention program on the Spectrum Community Services website. There's a
Yes.
lot going on with the organization, and we've been here
You,
with Lara Calvert from Spectrum, and we're super excited to have you on. I did want to touch on the topic that you've mentioned a couple of times, and that's social connectivity and also volunteering. I know that your organization relies heavily on volunteers, and can you tell us more about that and what benefits people are deriving from that, and how people who want to be a volunteer with the organization can do that?
absolutely. Our newest program is called Connect. And right now we have folks who are visiting in person, older adults who said, mostly people who we identify who are part of our other programs that we can tell need more than the short interaction at their door when they're receiving their Meals on Wheels. We can tell that they're hungry for longer conversations. And so our Connect program is allowing for that. It's allowing for a longer visit by a volunteer who is trained, goes through training, goes through background checks on both sides to make sure everybody's in a safe environment. But just talking with each other, just having a neighborly conversation, right? And getting to know each other. Some folks play games together, right? There is a gentleman who's a volunteer and who visits with another gentleman who's probably his dad's age. They found a connection over puzzles, and they both love puzzles. So they do puzzles together. You know, it's a great thing for all of us, no matter what age you are, for our brains to keep moving and going forward. But that social interaction has been highlighted again since the pandemic more than ever. I think we all realized if you were staying home by yourself and sheltering in place, how much you relied on social interactions and how important they are. Beyond that, the US Surgeon General put out a report this year and has really been shouting it from the rooftops that social interaction is one of the biggest determinants of your health. If you are socially isolated and feel lonely, you have a 29% greater risk of having heart disease. You have a 32% greater risk of having a stroke. If you're socially isolated, you have a 50% greater chance of having dementia, and you're 60% greater chance of premature death if you're socially isolated. So this is not something to ignore. It's not something to poo-poo and say, oh, whatever. No, it's a big deal. And all of our senior services have a social component to them. But again, we're really proud and excited that Connect is our newest program to do this in a more concentrated way for those in the community who want to. And we absolutely rely on volunteers of all ages. You can be a volunteer of any age. You have the energy and the desire to be the volunteer who's visiting, or the visitee. I don't care what title you put yourself on for that, as long as you're getting together, right? And again, some people want people who are kind of the same age as them to hang out with, because you have that commonality of your peer group. And others like to have, oh, gee, no, what, football. I want to hang out and talk with somebody because I'm a huge 49ers fan. And so I want somebody who loves that too, and we can connect over that. Or maybe you're into pets and, your dog is really important to you and that's your, connection to somebody else. So we spend some time trying to get to know people and what their interests are. So, it's kind of a matchmaking game as much as we can to get the right people together to do those visits. And the volunteers who volunteer with us, whether it's for Meals on Wheels, the senior meals, you volunteer in our fall prevention class as an assistant to our fitness instructors, our volunteers always come up to me as I thank them for their service. And overwhelmingly, they tell me, no, I'm getting more out of this than the seniors. They're saying, this is important to me. I thought I was coming here to do service for somebody else, but my heart gets filled every day I do this, and I can't imagine not doing it. It brings me to tears sometimes. Sometimes we don't know what we're missing in our life, and having that ability and going out and volunteering, it's changing it from something I should do to something, I get to do. Today's Thursday, I get to go volunteer today and see my seniors, right? What joy that brings to people when they're doing it on a regular basis and making that time in their life. We absolutely couldn't do all this work without volunteers, and connecting people together is a joy and a wonderful thing that we're proud to be able to do. So people can volunteer with us, again, on our website, or they can call us. You don't have to be you don't have to be a techie to volunteer with us. Okay. You really don't. But if you are able to get on the internet, or even through your smartphone or on the computer, our website works on both. And there's a button that says volunteer next to the button that says donate, right? Time and treasure all together. And there's an interest form, and you fill out the interest form as best as you can. And again, it's very personal. You'll get a personal response from us talking about what your interests are, what times you're available to give back to others, and how we can fit that together in the best way that works for you as an individual.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We are here with Lara Calvert from Spectrum Community Services, giving us the lowdown on all the wonderful things that they're doing there, not just for seniors, but obviously for families and individuals and volunteers as well. So there's a myriad of ways that people can get involved. Super exciting to hear about that. The website is great; it gives you plenty of details about the various programs. And we're getting to the bottom of this conversation. It has really been a pleasure having you on. I can tell that your heart is really into it, and I know it matters. It touches your organization's services, touch a lot of people's lives. It really means a lot, and I want to thank you on behalf of a lot of people who may not be able to thank you personally like this. I did want to, before we get off this conversation, congratulate your organization for winning the nonprofit award from was it Livermore Chamber of Commerce?
Livermore Chamber of Commerce, and I guess I'll brag, we also got it from the Hayward Chamber of Commerce this calendar year as well. So
brag, please brag. No, I think that's awesome. And like I said to you offline, I think, being acknowledged in that way obviously indicates the importance that your organization is doing in the community. So hats off to you all. And with the holidays coming up, tell us more about what's going on and how people may be able to get involved.
Yes, the end of the year is a really important time of the year. And I think that a lot of people recognize that, and they start thinking about how can they give back, right? So it's a great time to check us out. Think about what kind of time or treasure you can give to the services that we're providing to our neighbors. We know that during the holidays, Unfortunately, many of our, it's the highest time of the year that some of our clients pass away. And depression, whether it's, seasonal or the holidays, because they have already lost people in their lives, people get heartbroken and people go into depression and they need us more than ever. While some of our clients have families who maybe come and pick them up and bring them someplace for a week or do something else, we know that we have other clients who don't have anybody else in their life and that we are there. And so we provide extra attention to them during the holidays and need our volunteers more than ever during this time and count on them. We also count on donations. Our Thanksgiving meal for our senior meals program happens actually on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It is an extremely popular day. We're all find things to be thankful for and come together. And it is a great time to volunteer with us, not just that day, but make a commitment because we are serving meals all through the year. So it's a good time to jump in and make that commitment for all year long. In addition, I'm very proud that our Meals on Wheels program does a giving tree. We ask the seniors, and they don't like to ask for things, right? you know, but we really try to make sure that they're not just getting random gifts, but they're getting things that they need or want in their life. And the community steps up and provides the wishes for all 270 of our Meals on Wheels plans. And they do a tremendous job with that. And if you would like to be involved with that, please just give us a call and let us know. And then, as the end of the year comes, and we don't love to think about taxes, but it is in reality. And it's a great time to think about before the end of the year comes, making sure that you are giving your donations for the year, whether that is a cash donation, a donation of stock from your company. There's some tax advantages. So I hear from financial advisors if you just transfer that, or if you have a IRA and you have to take annual disbursements. Again, you don't have to take that money out and then pay taxes on it. You can ask for a transfer from that 401k to Spectrum Community Services and save yourself some tax dollars and give back to the community in that way. So lots of planning and things to think about at this time of the year before the new year turns.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of that. And lastly, we've been, focusing on community services here in Alameda County, but for people who may be in a different location, what type of advice would you have to get them to find out more about what's going on in their own community?
Is one of the wonderful things that when I talk to somebody, they go, "Oh, but I live, in Fresno, or my grandmother lives in Minnesota." I say, "Oh, that's fine, because I bet they have the same community services. They just are going to look a little differently. The organizations that it comes from, are going to have a different name, but Meals on Wheels and the senior meals programs are in almost every community across this country. Just the easiest thing to do is to go to Meals on Wheels of America and put in the address of yourself or your loved one, where the services you want, and they will show you who is providing in that geographic area. For things like the weatherization program and the utility assistance programs, again, if you just put it in the internet, you put weatherization, you're going to get if you put in weatherization in California, it's gonna go to the California site, where you again can just put in, "Hey, here's my zip code," and you're gonna find out which organization is serving your zip code. These programs are everywhere. Fall prevention, I think, is a little bit more hit and miss. Some communities are lucky enough to have fall prevention programs, but they are not as well funded as others, and we really, really rely on local support for us to continue those fall prevention programs. And so those could be a little bit trickier, but keep looking for things of fall prevention, senior injury prevention programs. If you're really wanting something, just keep asking and asking your health providers, right? Hey, where can I go get services that are specific for people who are my age, right?
Awesome. There you have it, folks. There's a lot going on with Spectrum Community Services. And your website, please, if you can just tell us one more time.
It's spectrumcs.org. So it's the word spectrum and then C for community and S for services.org.
Awesome. And we'll have it in the description as well so people can go check that out. It's a great website. Gives you all the details about the various programs we talked about and how you can get involved. You can either use the services, volunteer, or donate. So there's no excuse for someone not doing it because it covers all the bases. And we've been here with Lara Calvert from Spectrum Community Services. Thank you so much. We all really appreciate all of the services that you are providing for the community. I know a lot of people will be like, what? That's going on here? Really didn't know. So please help spread the word about these types of organizations and get the word out. Check out all the information in the description about the agency. And that is a wrap for episode 5. We really appreciate you being on, Laura. I know you all have a busy kind of end of year coming up. So I appreciate you taking the time today to talk to us more about what you guys are doing there.
It's a pleasure. And thank you for what you're doing. You are helping spread the word and start everybody in talking about how aging is something we all have in common. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Kimberly, for what you're doing.
Let's embrace our wrinkles. And I got that from Laura. I'm not sure where she got that from, but I love that phrase. And we're gonna put a wrap on episode 5, the power of community services. Everybody get out there, think about how you can support your community, support yourself, support individuals and families and organizations like Spectrum Community Services. Also, if you're watching and you want to be a guest, either you have a great organization you're a part of or a great story about aging, contact us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time.